Okay, so we'll start now. First of all, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this new orientation session. My name is Ahmed Hamdi. I'll be your instructor today. So today we are going to give more details about the FRC of the exams and know more about the exam details, what will be the structure of the exam, and how to prepare for the exam. And finally, how can we help you to pass these exams? So first of all, let me introduce myself. So for those who don't know me yet, this is going to change right now. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Ahmed Hamdi. I'm appointed as a cornea fellow at NHS in London, and I was a former cornea consultant in Egypt, and I have more than 10 years of experience. I'm the founder and instructor of courses of ophthalmology. So we have been training ophthalmologists from all over the world through preparatory courses that will help them to achieve success in the Royal College exams. So speaking about the eye courses, we have been started since 2014. We have more than 8,000 scans from more than 70 countries all over the world. And we have success rate of about 90% with a satisfaction rate of 100%. This is something we are very proud of. So let's start first by the topics of this session. Why the FRCOPHTH? And what are the facts and the myths about the FRC of the exam and the application process? Then we will go through the FRC of the Part 1 exam, the refraction certificate, the FRC of the Part 2 exam, and how can we help to pass these exams. So before we go through these exams, we need to know first what are the parts of these exams, parts of the FRC of the exams. So FRC of the exams consists of 4 exams until you become designated with the Fellowship of Royal College of Ophthalmologists. So start by the Part 1 or the FRC of Part 1, which is an MCQ exam, then the refraction certificate, then the FRC of 2 written, and finally the FRC of 2 oral. So a pass in the 4 exams is required to be entitled the Fellow of Royal College of Ophthalmologists. However, the order is not typical like that, because the order of this exam changed dramatically since the last year. We are going to cover that in just a few minutes. Okay, so you may be wondering, or you may have questions. So if I'm in your place, I will raise my hand and I'm asking you, why the FRC of? Why I should consider FRC of the exam as a route for working in the UK? First of all, it will give in GMC registration. It will entitle you with GMC registration. So you may consider, but what is the new? Is it a new thing? Actually, it may be a surprise for you, but yes, it is a new thing. So since like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, those who have FRC of the exams or the fellows of the Royal College of Ophthalmologists will not be able to register through the GMC. They will be only able to register by the FRC of and the training program, the UK training program. So this seems ironic, but actually this was the fact 2 or 3 years ago. But right now, or since 2 or 3 years, this changed. So even overseas ophthalmologists who are outside the UK, they will still be able to gain the GMC registration without being in a training program in the UK. Also the advantage of the FRC of that you can apply virtually for any job, any ophthalmology job, like in junior level, like in senior level, in the middle grade. So you can apply to any ophthalmic job. So clinical fellow, specialty doctor, trust doctor, a clinical fellow, or the fellow, or any kind of job, except or locum consultant, but except the permanent consultant posts. So permanent consultant posts require you there are other requirements for the permanent consultant jobs. So in order to apply for this permanent consultant jobs, you need to fulfill these requirements in order to enter into the specialist register. So you will be able to apply for this permanent jobs. Okay, so this will be the first advantage. The second advantage is just I'm telling you that you will be able to apply to be in the specialist register. So you, by the FRCOPHTH, you will be able to tick many boxes that are required for the certificate of completion of training and Caesar pathway. So these are the routes to be a permanent consultant in the UK, like to have CCT or the Caesar. And in order to achieve them, or in order to complete this pathway, FRCOPHTH will be one of the requirements. The third thing is that you will be able to apply to ST3 post by the part 1. So in order to apply for the specialist training third year or the third year of training program, these kinds of jobs or these kinds of posts require you to have the part 1. So part 1 will be very, very essential here. And it will be like, there is also that the part 1 will not only be help you to apply for the part 3, but it also exempt you from the first Glasgow, for example, or first FRCS Edinburgh. So you can even start by the first part and go to any fellowship exam you want. It is easier, and by the word easier, we don't mean absolute easy, or it is not that it is not easier in relative to or in relation to other FRCS exams like FRCS Glasgow or FRCS Edinburgh, but we mean, but it is easier than before. The FRCOPHTH exams were very, very difficult in the previous years, but nowadays it is becoming easier. And how did that happen? This happened in that every type of the exam or every stage of the exams underwent certain modifications. Like part 1 for like the last year, part 1 exam is no longer there is no longer CRQ exam. This constructed response questions should to be a little bit of more difficulty than usual. So starting from the previous year, the part 1 is only an MCQ exam. Also, the refraction certificate, due to the COVID-19 crisis, that there is no real patients, so you are going to be examined on a model I, as I'm going to show you right now. For part 2, it will be also no real patients, so you will be given videos to comment on, as I'm going to show you as we go. Also, the number 5 is the flexibility. If we want to be clear or crystal clear about something, then the Royal College of Ophthalmologists is the first one that recovered from the COVID-19 crisis that fast. And this is understandable. The NHS system cannot afford not having qualified consultants. So they need consultants, and the FRCOPHTH is an exit exam. So this is something that the NHS will not be able to afford. That's why the FRCOPHTH exams will be able to provide many test centers and many diets per year. So so far, in comparison to the FRCS Glasgow and the FRCS Edinburgh, the FRCOPHTH exam is the most abundant, and this is very important. Let me tell you something, that even when I did my FRCS3 exam, like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, this was like very competitive. Like when you have, you will be on the waiting list for 2 years, and until you secure a diet for the FRCS3, this is something that you should consider. So for being a test or an exam with many test centers and many diets per year, this should be a huge advantage that you should carefully look at. And finally, that many exams of the FRCOPHTH is becoming online. So part 1 and part 2 written are now conducted online. And this also should make you consider these exams as the ICO exams. Even the ICO exams are not done online. So you are cutting the costs of travel if the exam is not held in your country or at your city. So this also should be an advantage. So these are some reasons why the FRCOPHTH. Let's now talk about some myths and facts regarding the FRCOPHTH exams. So I will share you some of the common myths that I hear from my students and also from all ophthalmologists or around the world. They tell me that we hear something, and I keep telling them this is not true. There is no evidence on that. So let's start first by the most common myth, which even I heard from the attendance of the last orientation session the previous week. So this is the commonest rumor that it is I'm exempted from the FRC of the exams through the ICO exams. So is it true? Is it true that we will be exempted from the some certain exams? Just hold on, for example. Just hold on for a second, please. Okay, so what is the correct thing, or what is the fact? The fact is, as per the Royal College of Ophthalmologists, per today, up to date, that the RCOPHTH doesn't, or the RCOPHTH doesn't offer any exemption to the ICO exams holder. So this is very important to consider. Like as I told you, the previous session, one of the attendants told me that the ICO told them that the advanced exam will exempt them from the written part of the Royal College of Ophthalmologists. So this doesn't seem logical, and also it is not true. So, and this is not new for the ICO, which was famous for her or its unreliability, spreading false news, as it was also some years ago. They also said that the advanced exam would exempt them from the previous problem-solving exam of the FRCS Glasgow, and I sent an email to the Royal College of Surgeons of Glasgow myself, asked about that. Please don't write on my screen. So this is not true, okay? So for any information you want to make sure of, please drop an email to the Royal College of Ophthalmologists and they will tell you the fact. So don't go to the rumors or the myths. You have to find it clearly stated on their website in order to judge it like a true or a fact or myth. The second myth is that I'm not eligible. I don't have any years of experience. So is that true? Well, no, experience is not required. So unlike the FRCS Glasgow or FRCS Edinburgh, you will not be able, or you will not be required to have an experience. So you will just can enter the exam if immediately after internship, no need for years of experience. However, as per the Royal College of Ophthalmologists website, it clearly said that it is unlikely that you will pass the exam without enough experience, as I'm going to show you right now. So the exam is demanding actually, but since that it doesn't require an experience, so it all depends on you. It doesn't depend on time, doesn't depend on how much you have been practicing ophthalmology. It all depends on your current level and your practice and your study, of course. The third myth is I need to clear part 1 and refraction certificate to be eligible for part 2 written exam. So this was not a very actual myth. It was like the fact, which was like 1 year ago. But since the last year, the rules or the regulation changed. So you are no longer required to pass part 1 and the refraction certificate in order to be able to apply for part 2 written. So you can apply for the refraction certificate and FRCF1 by any order. So I just don't know how to remove these annotations. Let me. Okay, so you can apply for the refraction certificate and FRC of part 1 by any order. You are not required to have the, or you are not required to pass the FRC of 1 to sit for the refraction certificate. You can, if you are still new applicant to the FRC of the exams, you can start by the refraction certificate or the FRC of the 1. And when you apply for the part 2, refraction certificate is no longer required. So you can start by the FRC of the 1, then part 2. Or you can start by the refraction part 1, then the refraction certificate, then part 2. Or you can start by the refraction certificate, then part 1, then part 2. So you can take them by any order, but as you reach the part 2 written, you will you need to pass the part 1. And as you reach the part 2 oral, you need to pass you must have passed the previous 3 exams. So I hope that this is clear. The fourth myth is that I always hear about that, which is the FRC will get me better jobs than the FRCS. Well, this is not true. It is the qualification is a way for GMC registration. So you will just get the qualification to open the door for you, to open the door to apply for jobs. But the process of acceptance into jobs depends mainly on your skills. What are your clinical skills? What are your surgical skills, research skills, audits, presentations, teaching, all these skills. So qualification is just a book, or it is just a box that you tick for application to the jobs. So if they have a FRCS applicant with better CV than you, and you have FRC off, he will have the job, and vice versa. The fourth myth is I just explained, is that I can apply for permanent consultant jobs after I pass FRC of the exams. So also this is a very common myth. No, it is a prerequisite, but not everything. So if you want to be a permanent consultant in the UK, you need to pass the FRC of the exams, but they don't offer you the entry into the specialist register in the UK. And in order to apply for permanent consultant jobs, you need to be in the specialist register. And how can you apply for the specialist register? Either by completing your training in the UK or doing equivalent training through the CSER pathway. And for both conditions, you will need the FRC of the exams. And finally, also one of the myths that the FRC of the exams are impossible to pass. And I'm going to show you by numbers that the success in FRC of the exams is achievable with success strategies. So it is not impossible, but you just need to know how to tackle these exams. And numbers simply don't lie. Let me show you the numbers. So FRC of the exams pass rate according to 2021 diet, or the last diet published on the Royal College of Ophthalmologists. So it showed that the FRC of the 1 and refraction certificate, FRC of 2, FRC of 2 written and oral, what are the pass rate of every exam? Regarding the FRC of 1, the pass rate was only 42%. So almost half of the candidates who applied for this exam passed. This is really tough. And this was the hardest exam among all the exams. And this is understandable as well. Nobody likes the basic sciences. And these are extensively asked in the FRC of part 1. But this will be going to be better as we go. So the refraction certificate has a remarkable pass rate since the introduction of the simulator eye, so it's around 75%. The FRC of 2 written has also a remarkable high pass rate. It is around 67%. The FRC of 2 oral has very high rate. It is 73%. But to be honest with you, that the FRC of 2 oral, the pass rate is different whether the candidate is in a training or non-training post. So it was found that in trainees in the UK, they have a pass rate of around 85% and only 15% fail rate. But the non-trainees, it is around 50-50. So 50% of candidates passed and 50% were not be able to pass. And even that it is also acceptable because this is even the pass rate for the FRCS3 Glasgow. It is always 50-50. So this slide may give you a more clear insight about the pass rate of the FRC of the exams. So you can see they are not impossible, but you just need to prepare well for them. So also one of the common questions I have been always asked about is the application process. So some candidates can struggle with the application process. So let me simplify it. So start first by registering an account into at the Royal College of Ophthalmologists website. Then you fill in online application. Then you wait for approval, and I'm going to tell you approval for what. And then after approval, you choose the exam and then pay the fees. So to register an account, this is only if you are starting the exams from the beginning, from the whole beginning. So this only applies for the FRCOPHTH and for the refraction certificate. Okay. Just hold on. Okay. So this is only applicable for the FRCOPHTH and refraction certificate. If you are starting the route from the beginning, but if you already passed any one of these exams, FRCOPHTH or the refraction certificate, you will just wait for an approval, or you will start by step 4 immediately. You will be able to choose the exam. So if you are applying for the next exam, you don't have to verify yourself, but you just choose the exam and pay the fees. So how do we apply for this exam? We open the Royal College of Ophthalmologists website, then choose My FRCOPHTH. You need to be registered first. So if you don't have an account, you register an account or create a new account. Simple and straightforward process. Fill in your data, fill in your first name, last name, and email, phone number, country and address, city, and username and password. Then you will click next. For most of us, we are overseas ophthalmologists, so you may choose overseas ophthalmologist. If not, then choose your current position. Then now you are registered. So you choose again back to the Royal College website. Then you choose the FRCOPHTH exams. Then at the right side menu, you will find a list of exams that you need to or you want to apply for. So choose part 1 Royal College exams. Then book your exam. So here is the obstacle. The obstacle for this exam or for application that you need first to verify your primary medical qualification. So how can you verify your primary medical qualifications? You have an easy way and a more demanding way. An easy way is if you are already registered in the GMC. And I guess this is not the case for most applicants. So if you are registered in the GMC or the Irish Medical Council, the IMC, and you have a registration number, this means that the GMC or the IMC already verified your certificate or your primary medical qualification. So the Royal College will no longer require you to verify this qualification. However, for most of cases, if this certificate or your primary medical qualification is not verified, then you have 4 routes to verify them. First of all, if you have a fellow of the Royal College who is in good standing. So if you know a fellow to the Royal College of Ophthalmologists and he is paying his fees, his annual fees, and he is in good standing, he will be able to verify the certificate for you. Or the university issuing the certificate. So you go to the dean or the vice dean or any responsible or any official in your college, in your medical college, and ask him to attest the certificate in order to be accepted by the Royal College. Or if this is not applicable, sometimes some universities refuse to issue such certificate. So you go to a solicitor or an advocate, a lawyer. He will also, it will be acceptable also that he will verify the certificate for you. Or if you are living in abroad, if you are not living at your country, then you can verify it from your embassy. But you are not, or the Royal College will not accept attestation or verification from Justice of Peace, Peace Commissioner, or Commissioners of Oath, or from your hospital, or from your work colleagues, or from a translator. These are not accepted. So after you do the attestation, you send the attestation letter to enclosed with the certificate in order to be checked by the Royal College. And there is also an easy way to know if your medical college is recognized by the Royal College of Ophthalmologists or not. You can check this website, search.wdoms.org. This will be the website that you can search for the acceptable medical colleges by the Royal College of Ophthalmologists. Okay, so after you have this certificate, you start the application, fill in your date of birth, mobile phone, university, medical college, year of graduation, country of qualification. Then if you are in FY2, then click yes. If not, then click no. GMC number if present. If not, then write NA. Then please upload your medical certificate that has been attested. And then have a letter or an official attestation letter from the person who attested the certificate for you. So this also should be uploaded. Then the rest is, have you had any pending investigation, suspensions, limitations? Hopefully not. So if no, say no. If yes, provide some details. And also, if you, how many numbers did you set for this examination before? And finally, state the month and date that you have set for this examination. So this is an example for a letter of attestation. How do we provide a letter of attestation from our medical college? So it should be headed by the address of the Royal College with the date and your address and the college address. And then this letter of attestation where the dean or the vice dean of your college will certify that he had seen and attested your medical degree. If this is not possible, this is how we certify or attest from a lawyer. So this letter for me, it was from a lawyer to attest my passport. So it is not the same format for the certificate, but it is the same concept. So where a lawyer is just with writing his license number and his address, and he certifies that someone is having this passport, and he is this passport, and he witnessed and he saw your medical certificate, and he certifies that it is true, and it is true. So and he signed it. So this will be an example of an attestation letter from a solicitor or from an advocate. So this will be the only struggle for the application process, but otherwise it will be straightforward. And for the next exams, you will not be required to provide these documents anymore. So it is just for the first time. So after you provide this information, you will be asked some about, I would like to request additional arrangement. So you can say no, and then you write what will be your exam venue. So where you would like to sit the exam, which country and which city. And if you have any supporting documents, here is the place that you can upload them. Just so I have also many have not been able to enter. So I'm just receiving a lot of messages about ophthalmologists who are not able to attend the session. Sorry for that. Okay, so you have been now registered, and then you wait for approval from the Royal College of Ophthalmologists. This should take like around 6 or maybe around 1 week until they verify your certificate. And then you will be able to apply for the exam. So here how can you apply for the exam? You go to the iHub website. So you sign in with your email and password. Then you choose the exam date that you want to set for. Let's say, for example, that we want to apply for the refraction certificate in Cairo. So you click register. Then you register for myself. You start and then you will be redirected to the page where you are going to make an online payment. So this is the application process. I hope that it is clear now. If you have any doubts, I hope that they were illustrated and they are no longer exist.